Hello and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I am sharing with you how I altered this tiny little cookie jar lid. This cookie jar lid holds all of the buttons on my desk, so I wanted it to be something pretty. It's a tiny little lid and it goes super quick. It's a super easy process, and by all means I did not create this process, but I haven't shared anything in a long time, so I wanted to share something. Here's my jar of buttons. Crazy, I know. Anyhow, you can see that I've gathered a bunch of bits and pieces, and I will go into that later. But here's my cookie jar lid. It's already been painted with a heavy black gesso, and now you can see that I'm adding a bit of texture paste through a stencil. This is graphite texture paste. It's really gritty and it dries super easy and it has an amazing texture. Now you'll see me adding a layer of black gesso to all my bits and pieces. This first piece is a piece of resin that I made using a redesigned mold from Prima. So it's super thin, it's flat, it makes a great base for a focal point because it's typically for furniture or walls or things like that. Anyhow, so here you can see that I am just adding a layer of gesso to all my little bits and pieces, and I'm sorry that you're staring at a puddle of black gesso, but it's really important to just coat everything black for this process. It makes it so much easier, everything goes smoothly if you just start with everything being black. So here you can see that I'm painting the paste black after it dries. Please wait for it to dry. Anyhow, so now that the lid is black again, all the bits and pieces are black, I'm going to make sure that everything is dry. Now that everything is covered in heavy black gesso, everything is dry, you'll see that I am starting to build my cluster. I just put some little tiny gears inside that heart locket, and then you'll see me add the resin piece to the base of the focal point, and for that I'm using some heavy matte gel. Once I squeeze this flat on the surface, there's going to be a bunch of gel extra, and I'm just going to use a paintbrush to grab the gook out. Normally I'd add art stones or something like that, but for this I wanted it to be pretty clean and simple, so I'm just using a wet paintbrush and grabbing out the gobs of glue. I'm sorry if you're hearing my puppy. She's in my room right now and she's giving me puppy kisses because I don't know why she thinks she needs to be in here, but she is. So I'm sorry if you're hearing that. But I'm going to continue to build my focal point using some heavy body gel now. And I'm using heavy body gel because it's very durable, and this is a tiny piece, but it's got a lot of heavy elements and they're pretty high up, and it's a lid to a button jar that's going to get handled regularly, and I want to make sure that it's steady. And heavy body gel is very steady. But you'll just see me to continue to tuck in little leaves and hearts and flowers all around my focal point, just keeping in mind that the focal point is actually the heart and the center flower that says art. So I want to make sure that that's higher than the rest. I want to make sure that it stands out a little bit more than the rest. And I know it's really hard to tell what I'm doing here with the black on the black and then the little peaks of white. But again, it's a quick process and this does move very quickly. So please bear with me and you'll see where it goes from here. Now that everything's dry, it's finally time for color. So I'm going to be adding in the electric violet, as you saw, which is a new color. It's stunning, and I'm not really a purple person, but it really is a beautiful color. I'm using a coarse bristle brush to do that because I didn't really want to use my finger for two reasons. I didn't want to commingle the colors, and I didn't want to be very heavy-handed in this process. Because I'm using so many different colors, I wanted them to remain separate. Anyhow, now I'm using the Indian pink, and I'm using that around the heart locket. Kind of cliche, I know, to make the heart pink, but I do like the way that it turned out. Next, you're going to see me grab Peacock, and this one is by far my favorite, I do think. It's beautiful, and I go ahead and add that around the flowers, and then I'm going to go back in with purple to my focal point, which is really strange for me because purple is not really my color, but I really do like it on this piece quite a bit. But I think the hardest thing about this technique is just making sure that you don't go crazy with the wax. You start adding this color and it's just so beautiful, and it's going on so easy, and it's so quick, and it's really easy to get carried away with it because you're seeing all this lovely texture pop up, and you're seeing all the stuff that you've lost with all the heavy gesso. So you just want to be careful not to go crazy, because once you put that wax on, it's on. And you can get it off a little bit, and you can put some black gesso on top of it, but it's pretty on there. So you want to make sure you don't go crazy with it, and just find yourself a happy balance. Now I just wanted to give this a quick dry because I didn't want the silver that I'm going to add on top to blend in with the bottom wax. And this I'm using my finger because I just want to touch the very top of everything, just to make everything pop and really, really accent all of those little elements that I built into this cluster. And you'll see that I'm just going around it once, and then I'm going to stop, because again, this is something that you can get carried away with, and it will take away your whole project. And while you want all of your elements to pop, you don't want to lose them in some shiny metallic. Now I absolutely could have just stopped there, but I wanted to add a little glitter and sparkle because for some reason that's been my thing lately. So I'm just using a little bit of glossy accents inside that heart, and you're going to see me sprinkle in some glitter and some micro beads, and you don't really see them a lot in this picture, but on my desk you can see them quite a bit. And the tiny spoon, I swear by the tiny spoon. It's probably my favorite tool. But I'm just shaking that out, and there you can see it a little tiny bit in there, and then I'm going to add just a tiny bit of glitter to my flowers, and there I'm just using a tiny bit of glossy accents with some water so I don't get a huge gob of glitter, just tiny little bits. And I'm going to shake them off again and then give it a great big blow. And that's it. She is done. It's like I said, a very quick process, a small tiny project, but thank you so much for joining me today. I will have more to share soon, and I do appreciate you spending your time with me and would love any comments or thumbs up. Thanks again, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.